What's up, guys? Trader Dan here, and today I'm going to go over Earn2Trade, how their process was, and also show you guys some of the trade setups that I took in this evaluation. The main reason why I took this evaluation in Earn2Trade is because I got a lot of comments from the prior YouTube videos talking about Earn2Trade, so I thought I'd give them, or I'd do an evaluation with them to see how that goes and see what their process is like. And then also at the time with my trade members in the trade room, some of them were just overcomplicating the ways to be funded. And so I wanted to prove how you don't need a lot. You don't need 100 indicators, 100 products. You just need one strategy, one product, 1 to 2 contracts, and you can get funded well before the 15 days that they require you to trade. So this is just me showing proof once again that I did actually earn this funded account. We want to congratulate you on behalf of the whole team at Earn2Trade, completing the Gauntlet Mini, all of that good stuff right there. Okay, so we see how I did actually complete this. And then moving forward, I want to talk about the actual objectives here and some of the stats with those, and then also go over a trade example or two of how I traded in this account. So the profit goal was $3,000. It was a 50K account, and it was also pretty cheap because they had some sale going on. So it was only like $80, something like that, to take this evaluation. And so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to see what Earn2Trade is like for my subscribers on YouTube. For the trade members, show them how you can only use one strategy and still get funded. And it was just seeming like a good setup. So basically, we did hit this profit goal, obviously, and all the goals that we had to complete, we did. But we basically passed this evaluation. I think it was the 11th day or the 10th day. It was well before the 15-day deadline. And the main reason why it took that long is because we had to maintain consistency here. So you can't have one day be over 30% or 30% of your total profit for the evaluation. So for me, that meant I couldn't make more than $800, right? Because if it's $3,000, 30% is around 800 or 900, I believe. So I had to pretty much stay under that. And that's why some days I would only profit $200, $400, maybe $500, but I would just stop there because the next trade, risk reward wise, wouldn't be worth taking because pretty much all my trades were in the NASDAQ. They were all taken with what I call the reversal strategy. And pretty much that means that my risk is about $200 per contract. And I was taking 1 to 2 contracts per trade. So if I had made $500 and I knew my risk was going to be 200, it's just not worth it to be trying to make 300 to hit $800 for the day. So that's why it did take, 10, 11 days, because really you can do very well pretty quickly if you're taking one trade after the other with this reversal strategy, which I'm going to go over here in a moment. So that was maintaining consistency. That's the main reason why it took as long as it did. The progression ladder, I only did 1 to 2 contracts, so that just did not matter as much. Only trade during the approved times. I only traded after the bell, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time to about 11 a.m. Eastern time was when all my trades took place. Minimum 15 days, like I said, we passed in about 10, 12, then we just scratch trade. So just put on a micro trade and close it. And then max daily loss 1100. My risk, like I said, is $200 per contract. So worst case scenario, I would just do max 2 losses with 2 contracts per trade. So I would lose $400 and then $400, $800 lost in the day. But I think our biggest loss in a day was only $200 or $400 in this entire evaluation. It was pretty consistent all the way through. And there were some really good setups almost every single day. Trillium Max Drawdown 2000. I think that's the hardest part of the evaluations. And when you first get your funded accounts is not getting close to that trailing max drawdown because it does, it follows you. So even if you go from 50,000 to 51,000, you still can't lose 2,000, right? So it's almost like you're still starting from scratch, even though you just had some winners. So that can be tough, especially when you transition to the live account. So just keep that in mind when you're going through your evaluation. You want to keep that trailing max drawdown in consideration pretty heavily. And just make sure that you're following the correct risk parameters for yourself with the good risk reward and being consistent, patient, and disciplined so you don't hit that trailing drawdown or get close to it. So once you get 3, 4, 5,000 in the live account, you're pretty much going to be okay because you don't have that trailing you anymore. Profit goal of at least 3,000, like I said, didn't take too long to hit that. So what I want to go over is actually an example of the trade setup that I was using. It's called the micro reversal. In my trade room, I have the videos on this, I have documents on this, slideshows on this, trade examples on this. I go over this a lot. Any members of my trade room will tell you that this is what I've been primarily going over the last few weeks, just so heavily, because it has been a really, really good strategy for me, and I love sharing it. So let's kind of go over what this setup looks like. So with this reversal strategy, what we're doing is we are identifying that we are at either major support or major resistance. We are at highs, we are at lows on major support or major resistance. And then from there, we're going to go to the tick chart to try to find some entries. Okay, so the larger time frame, 30 minutes, hourly, daily time frame, those charts we're going to use to identify this larger support, larger resistance being traded. In this case, this was on Thursday. We were actually live in the trade room together, and we actually took these trades together. We were calling them out as we went, and some of the guys were able to capture some profits on these trades. But this was Thursday, and I do go live Tuesday, Thursday. So Thursday morning we were live. We had this 50% short that came into play. So 269.5 is resistance. This 289.25 could potentially also be resistance in some way on our larger time frame. So we end up trading this 269.5. We have a nice move lower. This is all before the market had opened. This is 6:30 Eastern time. We traded that level about 6 a.m. Eastern time. Then we come up around the open. That's what we're seeing here on the tick chart. If you don't know what a tick chart is, that just means that we're measuring transactions or trades. So every 512 transactions or trades, we are going to see a new candle. I also have the Hakanashi up. That way we can see the trend a little bit more clear on that micro time frame. Okay, so every 512 trades, we're getting a new candle here, and we're able to see the trend pretty clearly because of these Hakanashi candles. So what happens is we come into resistance, 269.5, and eventually 289.25. That's a little bit after the open, maybe like 9:35, 9:40 a.m. We are starting to trade these levels. Okay, what we want to do now is look to take out the long structure. At this point in time, the long structure would be the higher lows that are taking place. So the higher low in this situation is going to be drawn from here, right? This is our higher low because we have a nice move up. We have a pullback. You can see about 4 red candles here. Then we make a new high. Higher high, higher low. Okay, so the goal right now as I'm watching this is to see, can we take out this prior higher low? If we break below 13,262.25, if we break below that level, we can look for a 50% short from highs and look to get short that 50% level. That's the white level, this white dash level is the 50%. So we come down, we end up taking out the 262.25. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So what I'm going to do is draw from this high down to this low. This was a very volatile morning already. I think the ATR was 30-some, 40 points. So that means that every 5-minute bar was averaging about 30 to 40 points just before the open. So when the open came, we were a lot more volatile as well. So anyways, the reason why I mentioned that is because we have a 10-point stop. And even though we're super, super volatile, we still hold a 10-point stop. So 71.5 would be this entry. We trade 71.5, and then we end up running down to our target of about 244.25. So almost 30 points off of that entry. And again, a 10-point stop. So 281.5 would be your stop. The high is a 274.25. You can see up here we have the O for open, H for high, L for low, C for close. If I put my mouse over this candle, you'll see the high is 274.25. So we trade 271.5. We stay within our 10-point stop. Then we run down to this target of almost 30 points. So risking 10 points for 30 points or 10 points or even 20, 25 points is really good risk reward. And we're seeing that pay off here almost instantly because this is about 9:40 or so. And then this ends up being about 9:45. Okay, so it actually doesn't take that long to hit that trade, that profit target there. And again, I go over all this a lot more in depth in my trade room, videos, documents covering all of this. But here we have the next short then, and we talked about this in the trade room as well. 266.25, your stop is again 10 points, 276.25. This one gets close, right? 275 is the high. So you're about 9 points or so into that stop. You're about a point or so away from being stopped out. But we still hold our 10-point stop, and we end up running hard to the downside. And we complete this target of 231.25, which would be 35 points or so. So 35 points is pretty good for only 10 points risk. Okay, so we're seeing one trade go for almost 30 points, next trade go for 35 points. So right there, you just put up 20 points off 2 trades to go ahead and make 65 points. And I like to do 2 contracts on these, so that first contract can go for the risk. So if I'm risking 10 points, first contract goes for 10 points. So I'm doing 10 for 10. That second contract goes to the target. So you're doing 10 for 10, then 10 for 30, or 10 for 10, and then 10 for 40, whatever you want to do there, and you can just kind of trail it as you go. But here we see this, once again, trade, and it goes through its targets, and then we just continued to the downside here. And again, reversal, that was pretty textbook, right? We're at highs, we're on larger time frame resistance. At highs, we take out the higher low, just a textbook reversal short here. We had one that traded to its target and a second one that traded to its target. And it just doesn't get much better than that, especially when the volatility is so high and we're still able to capture these micro trades really technically. So I just wanted to go over that. That's essentially what I did almost every day trading that evaluation, was just looking for the NASDAQ to have a reversal trade, whether it was long or short, just take the reversal trade. And just doing that strategy alone, you can see how it wasn't too difficult to hit that profit target and to achieve those goals. And again, the risk only being $200 per contract really opens up your doors for some high risk reward trades that work out really well. And again, the consistency rule is the only reason why we didn't pass this any quicker, because I mean, that right there alone, you can see how that's over 2 grand just off of those 2 trades. So all of that adds up pretty quickly. But that's pretty much all I wanted to go over with those trades. I have many more examples in my trade room, and I go a lot more in depth in my trade room on how I find these trades and take these trades, not only in the NASDAQ, but the S&P, crude oil, etc. So if you're interested in becoming a more consistent trader, or if you're interested in learning these strategies, or interested in just trading with a group of people, definitely check out the trade room. And it does have a 2-week free trial, and I think it's helped a lot of people, or at least I hope it does. And that's what I got there. But otherwise, Earn2Trade, as far as that goes, it was a pretty straightforward evaluation. I still like One-Up-Trader more, and I really like One-Up-Trader, just their customer service and the way they run their accounts. I had a little bit of a hiccup when I got this funded account for Earn2Trade. They, for some reason, flagged me as breaking a rule after I think it was my second or third day trading with them. And I didn't break the rule. Basically, they had said that I had 3 open contracts in the NASDAQ at the market close. I sent them screenshots of my working orders off of Finamark, which is the platform they use, and also Rhythmic Trader. I sent my screenshots from both of those platforms showing that I had no orders. I had no working orders, no open positions, nothing at that time. I closed my last orders around 2:40 p.m. Eastern time in the afternoon. Once I sent them that information, they reviewed it and agreed that I did not break this rule, and I got my account back. But that just seemed a little bit sketchy to me and weird. And I wonder how many people have lost accounts in that way, where they didn't actually break the rule, but then they get flagged for it. Luckily for me, in my case, they reviewed it and they gave me the account back. But that does worry me. I don't want people to spend money and then get the account and then not break a rule, but then be told that they did break a rule. That just seems messed up to me. So I think One-Up-Trader is just a little bit more professional, I would say. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward, nothing too different. They're all basically similar. And the subscription fee was really low. That's one plus I take away from it. The fee to do the evaluation was really low. But other than that, I would still prefer the One-Up-Trader. But that's all I got for today. So any other questions or comments, feel free to drop them below in the comment section. I will get back to you. You can also find me on Twitter at DanTheTrademan, and you can join my trade room. I'll put the link in the description as well if you want to check that out. 2-week free trial. But I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and trade safe. See you guys in the next one.